In this video I'm going to analyze the 20 languages that I completed on Duolingo. So let's begin. So Duolingo started its private beta on November 30th, 2011. June 19th, 2012, Duolingo launched for the general public. 2013 August, I joined Duolingo. The incubator was a new thing in 2013. The first language was Spanish.
Mañana tenemos que abandonar el palacio.
The Spanish course in Duolingo has currently 317 lessons, 61 skills, 2,151 words. It took about 4 months to complete the whole tree. And my purpose in Spanish was to strengthen my vocabulary, practice more subjunctive in different tenses. Especially the subjunctive is hard for me in Romance languages. And I had studied Spanish already since 2008, so I had a steady background in the Spanish language. Second language is Portuguese.
Bebê precisa de aquecimento.
The Portuguese language on Duolingo has 406 lessons, 69 skills, and I've got no data about the word amount. Portuguese took about 4 months to complete. I did the same things as in Spanish, strengthened vocabulary, subjunctive, which is like really hard, especially in the past and future tense. My Portuguese was a bit weaker than Spanish, but thanks to Duolingo I managed to improve my Portuguese a lot. Third language was English. I did the reverse tree, English from Spanish, so I improved both languages, Spanish and English. I feel like after all these years, my English has also improved a lot. 2014, fourth language was Italian.
Il continente muore di fame.
The Italian course has 405 lessons, 66 skills, 1,917 words. It took about 1 year to complete the Italian tree. In the beginning I did about 15 to 30 minutes, and after I completed the previous trees I studied maybe from 1 hour to 2 hours. So I strengthened my vocabulary and different verb tenses. I didn't remember in the beginning all the declinations in Italian, especially compared to Spanish or Portuguese. I had started Italian in 2017 at high school, so I already knew the basics quite well. I think I was at an intermediate level when I started Italian on Duolingo. Fifth language was German.
Mein Gegner schläft.
The German Duolingo course has 455 lessons, 120 skills, 2,860 words. It took about 16 months, if I remember correctly. In German, one thing that I concentrated on was the adjective endings in definite, indefinite, and without article. To be able to speak German grammatically correctly, you really need to know the adjective endings and know the cases and the genders of the words really well. And German, I had already started on the 3rd grade, and I had learned German about 6 to 7 years at school, so German was also on a really advanced level when I started to improve it on Duolingo. Sixth language was Swedish.
Jag ska följa dig hem.
And the Swedish language has 325 lessons, 66 skills, 2,365 words. In the Duolingo course, it took about 2 weeks because I knew Swedish like really well. I had started Swedish in the 7th grade, so from 7th grade to university I had learned Swedish and practiced Swedish also with some of my friends. Otherwise the Swedish tree was like the easiest for me. 2015, 7th language on Duolingo was French.
J'aime toucher le chapeau.
The French course on Duolingo has 358 lessons, 78 skills, 2,349 words, and I learned a lot. The French course took about 1.5 years to complete. It was really hard for me, I have to admit. And it was because it was the first language on Duolingo that I started from zero. The pronunciation of French was really hard because the syntax is so different. You write the words in a different way that you pronounce them. After I completed the French tree, I really couldn't speak much. So I took some courses in the university. I have also traveled in Guadeloupe and spoken French there. So now I'm on a like conversational level. So the Duolingo course on French was definitely not enough to get me to the level where I can speak fluently French with people. 8th language was Dutch.
Wij hopen dat onze tante vanavond niet zingt.
The Dutch language course on Duolingo has 340 lessons, 64 skills, 2,907 words. And Dutch was the second language after French, which I started from zero. So I had studied German, English and Swedish, which are really similar to Dutch. I could like see many similar aspects in the Dutch language. The pronunciation of Dutch was hard. G letter was maybe the hardest for me to pronounce. And Dutch has 2 genders, de and het. A bit like in Swedish when they have en and et. After completing the Dutch tree, I could like write some simple sentences or read Dutch and understand quite much, but I can't speak much Dutch. 2016, 9th language was Russian.
Эта книга не только бесполезная, но даже вредная.
The Russian course on Duolingo has 350 lessons, 79 skills, 2,280 words. It took about 4 to 5 months. Russian was my first Slavic language. In the beginning, the hardest part was to know where the different letters were on the keyboard, but I think I learned it quite quickly. It wasn't that hard. Pronunciation in Russian is of course really hard. The words are really long and you have different S sounds and you really have to concentrate not to mix the different S sounds. Pronunciation of Russian actually helped me in Chinese later because they both have a lot of S sounds, and I felt like after studying Russian it really helped me in the pronunciation of Chinese as well. For me, hard in Russian language is that they have 3 different genders and 6 cases. So basically you have to know the genders of the words because you have to know how to declinate them in 6 different cases, and it's still quite hard. After completing Russian in Duolingo, my progress has been like slow but steady. 10th language was Polish. The Polish course has 298 lessons, 67 skills, 1,966 words. It was the second Slavic language, of course, after Russian. Polish has a lot of similarities with Russian, but there are some differences. Like Unlike Russian, Polish has 7 cases. The 7th is vocative, which is a case that you use for addressing directly some person. Pronunciation was easier than I thought because I was already on a basic level in Russian. The Polish use the verbs to be and to have in different way in the present tense than the Russians. Like in Polish, I would say I am Christian, jestem Christian, but in Russian you would say just ja Christian, which is like I Christian. But in Russian they of course use the verb to be in future and past tense, but in the present they don't use it. The verb to have was also different in Polish. In Polish when you say I have, you say mam. In Russian you don't use the word to have in present, but if you want to say I have something, you say u меня, which is a different kind of logic than the Polish have here. 11th language is Turkish. The Turkish language has 200 lessons, 67 skills, 1,465 words. It took an eternity to complete Turkish. The grammar is difficult, it's an agglutinative language. You have 6 cases. The word order is really strange to me, it's like SOV. The verb is in the end, which was really strange for me because at that point most of the languages I had learned were all SVO languages mostly. I was not able to speak Turkish after completing Turkish in Duolingo. 12th language was Esperanto.
Bona patro, neniam jetas la bebon.
A good father never throws the baby.
The Esperanto course has 241 lessons, 44 skills, 1,889 words. So Esperanto took about 1 to 2 months because it didn't have that much content as many other languages on Duolingo. Esperanto is a constructed language which was created by Zamenhof to promote world peace. So 84% of the words come from Romance languages, 14% from Germanic languages, 2% Slavic and Greek, and there are some words also from Japanese or Sami language. Esperanto was quite easy to learn. It was easy for me because most of the words were familiar already. I felt like after completing the Esperanto tree, I could understand and speak much more than in other languages that I had started from zero in Duolingo. 13th language is Romanian.
Politicieni mint mult.
Romanian is a strange combination of Romance language with Slavic influence. The pronunciation felt harder than other Romance languages. The most similar language with Romanian is Italian. Romanian had different kinds of A sounds, and I think I can't even now pronounce them correctly. Romanian also is said to be the closest language to Latin. Like in many languages that I started from zero, I couldn't speak Romanian after completing the course. 14th language was Guarani. So that was from Spanish to Guarani. Guarani was the first Native American language in Duolingo. And Guarani has about 5 million speakers in Paraguay, but also in the neighboring countries like Brazil, Argentina, Bolivia. Guarani is the second biggest Native American language after Quechua, which has almost 9 million speakers. The version of Guarani in Duolingo is the Jopara, a dialect which has Spanish loanwords, much more than like pure Guarani. And Guarani has like nasal sounds, a little bit like in Portuguese. Words in Guarani have no gender, they have no definite article, but they have started using more lo and la from Spanish. There are actually some Guarani loans in English language, like jaguar and piranha. Jaguar comes from the word jaguarete, and piranha comes from piranha. There are some other words as well, like aguti from akuti, tapir from tapira, and also some other ones as well. It was like really interesting to learn Guarani, and currently they have only the Guarani chorus from Spanish. The 15th language was Greek.
Ο ξάδελφος μου και εγώ έχουμε ένα καρπούζι.
Greek has 3 genders, like just like German or Russian. At 4 cases, the hardest part in the beginning was to memorize the location of the letters in the keyboard. 16th language was Danish.
Gæsten synger om min bams.
The Danish course on Duolingo has 340 lessons, 70 skills, and there's no data of the amount of the words. It's similar to Swedish and Norwegian, but I think the Danish pronunciation is much harder than in Swedish or Norwegian. The Norwegian pronunciation is probably the easiest of these 3. Sometimes they don't even pronounce the G and D letters in the words.
Hvilken foruligner beslutning har præsidenten lavet?
The Danes swallow a lot of their sounds of the words, so the pronunciation was tricky. 17th language was Catalan. Currently you can study Catalan only from Spanish. For me, Catalan sounded like a mixture of Spanish, French and Italian. So yeah, it was weird. 18th language was Ukrainian. The Duolingo course in Ukrainian has 209 lessons, 51 skills, 1,108 words, which is much less content than the average language course on Duolingo. Ukrainian was the 3rd Slavic language after Russian and Polish. Ukrainian sounds a lot like Russian, but the vocabulary is the biggest difference. And unlike Russian, Ukrainian has also the vocative case, the case which you use when you address directly some person. 19th language was Swahili.
Ngorongoro ni kubwa. Haki ya Mungu.
It's the first African language in Duolingo. It belongs to the Niger-Congo language family. And because of the history, it has a lot of Arabic loanwords, but also some Portuguese and from some other languages as well. Swahili is quite easy to pronounce. For me, the hardest thing in Swahili is the noun classes. How to distinguish which word belongs to which noun class. So the 20th language is Chinese. Chinese is a Sino-Tibetan language, and when I started Chinese on Duolingo, I had studied Chinese for 1 year, and I had lived 3 months in China, so I was on a basic level, and using Duolingo helped me a lot. I learned a lot of new words. I learned a lot of new things about the grammar. So for me, the Chinese course was really beneficial. So that was all the 20 languages that I've completed in Duolingo. So I hope you liked the video, and subscribe me if you're interested to know more about languages, history, and traveling.